RP1, which is our fuel, and liquid oxygen, which is our oxidizer. And in about a couple seconds, we should hear that call out for LOX load completion on the second stage.
Stage 2, LOX load complete.
And we heard that call out there, which means that Falcon 9 is now fully loaded with 1 million pounds of fuel and liquid oxygen. The booster, or the first stage of the rocket that you see on your screen,
Ground gas closeouts.
Is flying for the 5th time today, having previously supported CRS-26, OneWeb Launch 16, Intelsat IS-40E, and one other Starlink mission. After liftoff and stage separation, the booster is scheduled to land on our drone ship, a shortfall of Gravitas. Coming up next, we should hear a call out over the nets, updating us that Falcon 9 is in startup.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
And you heard it right there, right on time, that Falcon 9 is now in startup, which means that the flight computers have taken over the launch countdown. And in a few seconds, we should hear our launch director give the final go for launch.
LD, go for launch.
Let's sit back and watch as Falcon 9 takes our 22 Starlink satellites into space.
T-minus 15 seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition and liftoff. Go Falcon, go Starlink.
M1D chamber pressure nominal.
Vehicles pitching downrange.
At T plus 30 seconds, F9 has successfully lifted off from Slick 40 at Cape Canaveral, Florida at 1:31 a.m. Eastern Time. The next major milestone coming up is Max Q, which is when the vehicle experiences the greatest amount of external stress as it ascends through the Earth's atmosphere.
Vehicles supersonic.
You just heard that Falcon 9 is now supersonic, which means it's traveling faster than the speed of sound.
Max Q.
And there's that call out for Max Q, which again is when the rocket experiences the largest amount of external stress. So now we're about 1 minute away from a series of back-to-back events: MECO, or main engine cutoff, stage separation, SES1, or second engine start 1, and then fairing separation. MECO, or main engine cutoff, is where all 9 of the Merlin engines on the first stage shut down. And then stage separation is when the first and second stages separate from one another. SES1, or second engine start 1, is where we light the Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage. And then fairing separation is when the 2 fairing halves separate and fall away from the second stage. So let's keep an eye out, as these events are going to happen in quick succession.
Stage separation confirmed.
And as you just saw and heard partially over the nets, we had successful MECO stage separation and SES-1. And we're coming up on fairing separation from the second stage in just a few seconds.
Fairing separation confirmed.
Great call out there. We will be attempting to recover both of our fairing halves using our recovery vessel, Doug. Both of the fairing halves that supported today's mission are flight proving, having flown for their 8th time. Currently, the first stage is on its way back to Earth towards our drone ship, a shortfall of gravitas. And the MVAC engine that you see on the second stage is continuing its burn, which will last about another 4 minutes.
Acquisition of signal Bermuda.
As a reminder, Starlink is a satellite internet constellation that's designed and manufactured by SpaceX to provide high-speed, low-latency internet to people living in remote and rural locations around the globe. Starlink is currently live in 65 markets and countries around the world.
Vehicles on a nominal trajectory.
And as I mentioned earlier, today's Starlink mission marks SpaceX's 231st mission overall and the 32nd mission just this year. Coming up next in the mission is the entry burn on the first stage, which is the first of 2 burns it'll go through in preparation for landing. Stage 1 entry burn should be
Stage
coming
1
up.
FTS is safed.
Stage 1 entry burn.
And there's that call out for the Stage 1 entry burn. Stage 1, which we also call the booster, has ignited its 3 engines, 1, 5, and 9, to help it slow down for atmospheric reentry.
Stage 1 entry shutdown.
Stage 2 FTS is safed.
And you just heard that call out that the entry burn on the first stage has completed.
Falcon 9 second stage following a nominal trajectory.
If you look at the bottom right-hand side of your screen, you can see that the velocity on stage 2 continues to increase as it continues its burn.
Stage 1 entry transonic.
And there's that call that the first stage is transonic, which means that it's traveling near the speed of sound. Coming up in about 20 seconds will be the landing burn.
Stage
Stage
1
2
landing burn.
internal guidance.
And there's confirmation that the Stage 1 landing burn has started in preparation for touchdown on our drone ship, a shortfall of Gravitas.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
This Falcon 9 first stage has now successfully launched and landed for the 5th time. And now we're coming up on second engine cutoff.
And vac shutdown.
Expected loss of signal Cape and Bermuda.
Nominal parking orbit.
And there you just heard that call out that we were waiting for. Confirmation of good orbit. Today's landing marks our 192nd overall landing of an orbital class rocket, including Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy missions. And with confirmation of successful first stage landing and second engine cutoff, that wraps up our coverage for today. Be sure to check out our social media pages for confirmation of Starlink deployment. And thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.